Hello, it's Q&A with Paul Chek. Hello, how are you? Today I'm going to answer this question. Somebody's asking for tips for healing adrenal fatigue while staying active and maintaining mass. That is actually a much deeper question than most people would realize because there's many factors that have to be looked at. My advice to begin with is get my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, which has a series of questionnaires and a 4-doctor system so you can identify what your dream is and what your supportive values are that you will choose to live by so you can make effective choices. And the questionnaires show you which systems of your body are under stress, and then your score table that tells you what your score graph is, shows you how much stress is in each key system of your body, directs you to which chapters in the book will help you lower that score by giving you the information you need and the practices you can apply. And it also tells you things like stretches, exercises, mobilizations, and what we call work in or zone exercises to accumulate more life force energy. So those are some essentials because there's many things that lead to adrenal fatigue. There is a very good book that I read a number of years ago, which would still be very accurate, called Adrenal Fatigue. I believe the author is James Williams, if I remember right. You could probably find that on Amazon. It's a very comprehensive book that is probably a good idea to read if you've got adrenal fatigue. But we have to remember that in the human body, all stress summates. That means physical stress, emotional stress, mental stress, environmental stress such as toxicity, sound, poor sleep quality, electromagnetic pollution, thermal stress, any kind of stress that's perceived by the body as stress adds up in the central nervous system to create what's called a total stress response and stress picture, so to speak. So the question really has to be asked, what is it that led to adrenal fatigue? It could be heavy metal toxicity. One of the common things I've seen leading to adrenal fatigue is parasite infections and fungal infections, because the parasites are eating up all your nutrition before it can get into the body, and the funguses are not only eating up the nutrition, but they're releasing mycotoxins into the body, which poisons the body and disrupts immune regulation so that the immune system doesn't work properly. And parasites and funguses can cause a high degree of inflammation in the body, as can eating seed oils and being poisoned by things like vaccinations, medical drugs, environmental chemicals, asbestos, lead and metal paint and lead in paints, plastics and chemicals and styrofoam. The average carpet outgasses something like 138 carcinogenic chemicals for the first year. The average new car, I read a study that showed that the average new car outgasses something along the line of over 60,000 toxic chemicals. So when you look at all these compounding factors, there's a lot of things today that contribute to adrenal fatigue. Probably one of the most common is simply lack of sleep. The average college student today only gets 4.5 to 4.7 hours of sleep, but the average person needs 8 hours of sleep until proven otherwise. And I have a whole chapter on sleep and sleep hygiene and how the hormonal system responds to sleep in my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. The next aspect of the question is staying active and maintaining mass. You have to be very careful, because adrenal fatigue means that the yin-yang balance of the body is imbalanced. So yin is the feminine, which relates to nutrition, hydration, sleep. Yang is the masculine, breathing, thinking, and movement. So if we're not getting enough yin energy, yin is restorative, it multiplies energy, and it means accumulation of resources. It's cooling for the body, and yin energy is correlated with the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system, which is the digest, metabolize, assimilate, eliminate, and growth and repair branch of the nervous system. The sympathetic is the fight or flight branch, correlates with yang energy. Yang means division of power, increases in heat. So when you're working out and you're sweating, that's yang dominant. But when you're in a cold plunge, you're getting a lot of yin energy. When you're having a good meal, You're getting yin energy, which is called acquired chi. When you're doing what I call work-in exercises, such as Tai Chi, breathing squats, and the kind of exercises I show in my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, you're bringing in more energy per unit of time than it costs to actually do that activity, so you end up with a surplus of life force energy. So when it comes to maintaining mass with adrenal fatigue, generally what I recommend people do, but I always have to do a comprehensive evaluation, so I'm just giving you some general concepts here. I put them on neurotonic training if they're lifting weights. I prefer weightlifting far more than cardio training for people with adrenal fatigue, because, for example, if you do 30 minutes of cardio exercise, you've got 30 minutes of adrenal stress, and the body will elevate cortisol for the whole 30 minutes. But if you go to a gym and lift weight for 30 minutes, you can only do about 10 to 12 sets, and you're only loading the body while you're actually moving the load, which is called time under tension. So the average person is only getting about 6.5 to 8.5 minutes of exercise every half an hour in the gym. But the stress of weightlifting or resistance training actually stimulates metabolism naturally, and the research studies I've seen shows that will last for up to 72 hours. With cardiovascular exercise, you're loading the body up with cortisol, but as the body cools, the metabolism slows down, so it's not nearly as effective for maintaining healthy body weight. The other thing is, when you get into late stage adrenal gland fatigue, you see the onset of hypothyroidism. Think of the thyroid as the throttle. It's like the gas pedal of the body. So if you've got adrenal fatigue, it means metaphorically you're running the engine so hard you're burning the system out. So the body forces you into a yin recovery period. What burns the adrenal glands out is excess yang energy. What heals them is cooling, calming, resting, and regeneration. So people will go hypothyroid and they will start accumulating water, getting cold, getting fat, getting lethargic, feeling sleepy a lot. And unfortunately, doctors give them thyroid stimulating hormone, which just drives the pathology even deeper into the body, because they're going against the body's healing mechanisms. All of these things are compensations to not only keep you alive, but help you recover. So if you want to maintain muscle mass, you've got to be very careful not to go into too much yang, or energy output, or energy division, or resource utilization, because the body will spend its internal resources by externalizing it to the musculature of the body. And, you know, like I say to people all the time, don't trade your liver for a pair of biceps as a metaphor. It's never a good trade. So what I do is use neurotonic training, which is use a load that you can only lift 4 to 6 times as an example. So you would then only do 2 reps with it, or take a load you can do 10 to 12 reps with and only do 6 or so reps. So you only do about half the number of reps per set with a given load that you would normally do. And what happens is that stimulates the body, excites the hormonal system, helps release anabolic hormones, but you should always leave the gym actually feeling more energized than when you got there. High tension helps keep the nervous system strong, and the muscular system strong, and the fascia strong. And so therefore, if you use weightlifting exercises where you can build yourself up safely, if you can safely do, which anyone can do, but you have to be careful about quality of tissue and orthopedic factors and things like that. But as a general rule, if you can get the tension up high enough and get that happening, 2 to 3 times a week, but not burning yourself out, you create enough stimulus to keep the muscles from atrophy or from dropping muscle mass. Other things that you can do is things like exercising in the water, because it's gentler on the body. But when it comes to maintaining muscle mass, you're going to have to use higher intensity, which is why I like using neurotonic training. So those are a couple of tips for you. I'm just checking Yes, so the questions are staying active and developing muscle mass. Staying active, you really need to be careful about what you mean with active, because again, if you push yourself too catabolic or into too much physical stress, you will not recover effectively, because adrenal fatigue means your capacity for recovery is greatly diminished. So staying active with adrenal fatigue means you stick to things that don't have a lot of stress involved. So things like walking, Tai Chi, Qigong, gentle yoga. You have to be very careful not to do things that push cortisol levels up too high, because it just drives the adrenal system into deeper and deeper fatigue, and that just leads to a cascade of problems. And so it takes a real commitment to listening to your body and being honest with yourself, and not letting ideas about what you should do or how much exercise you need or all that control you, because ideas are never reality. Your body is reality. So pay attention to your body. Check out my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. And you could look at James Williams' book, Adrenal Fatigue, which is very comprehensive. And you could take my Holistic Lifestyle Coach Level 1 training online, which is designed for public consumption, at CHEK Institute.com. And honestly, if you just follow the plan in my book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, diligently like it's laid out, you'll probably knock this thing right out of the ballpark. So hope that helps.